All right, Shalom. Shalom, giving all praises, all glory, honors unto Yahweh, by Hashem Yahushua, by Hashem Kakadash. Double honors to the apostles, elder bishops of Great Millstone. Peace and blessings to the 144,000, rest of the hopeful elect out there. Back with another edifying video. And I'll try to make this quick. This here is from the BBC News. And it says, Japan islanders sleepless after 900 earthquakes in 2 weeks. 900 earthquakes in 2 weeks. And that's definitely a sign of something major happening in the earth. You know, we're talking about what, nearly 1,000 earthquakes happening in a short amount of time. And as always, you know, this has to tie into prophecy. Now here, I'm going to read this. It says, more than 900 earthquakes have shaken a remote and sparsely populated island chain in southern Japan over 2 weeks. And I've spoken on this before, but it was hundreds of earthquakes. I believe one report was 200. Another one was 400. Now we're at the point where it's like 1,000. Okay? It says, keeping residents anxious and awake all night. Seismic activity has been very active in the seas around the Takara Islands since the 21st of June, authorities said after a magnitude 5.5 earthquake struck on Wednesday. And these aren't no small earthquakes. 5.5 is not a small earthquake. Okay? Now here it says there have been no reports of damage and no tsunami warning has been raised, but authorities have advised residents to prepare to evacuate if needed. It's very scary to even fall asleep, one resident told the regional broadcaster NBC. It feels like it's always shaking. It says the Takara area has experienced clusters of earthquakes in the past, but the frequency of the most recent tremors has been unusual, according to local media. So this isn't something that is common. Okay, you know, this is an unusual occurrence. Like I said, this is a sign that is alluding to Bible prophecy. And I'm going to read the scripture. Japan is one of the most seismically active nations on Earth, owing to its location on the so-called Pacific Ring of Fire, where many tectonic plates meet. It experiences about 1,500 earthquakes each year. Okay, let me get the scripture. Okay. You know what? Let me see what the book of Mark says. Let's go to the book of Mark, the 13th chapter. I haven't went there in a while. Okay, things to come. All right. So this is pretty much says the same thing that it says in Matthew the 24th chapter and Luke the 21st chapter. But let's read this. So this is Mark chapter 13 and 8. It says, for nation shall rise against nation, and kingdom against kingdom, and there shall be earthquakes in diverse places, and there shall be famines and troubles. These are the beginnings of sorrows. And that's the time we're living in. We're living in the time of the beginnings of sorrows. And like it said in the article, these people are, matter of fact, let me read it. They're living in a time where they don't know if they have to evacuate or not. Okay? Right, so it says here, it is very scary to even fall asleep. One resident told the regional broadcaster NBC, it feels like it's always shaking. Imagine not being able to get any rest, be able to get any proper sleep because your house, your city is always feeling these quakes and tremors. Okay? That's sorrowful. There shall be earthquakes in diverse places. This is a sign of the coming of Yahushua. Okay? These are all the signs, as it says here, under what things to come. That's prophecy. Okay? Yahushua said that these things will happen. Now, it's not just Japan. Okay? Let's go here. This is from nationthailand.com, and it says mild earthquakes recorded off Sumatra, Indonesia on Friday. Okay? Mild earthquakes recorded off Sumatra, Indonesia on Friday, July 4th, 2025. And there's a map here. It says three mild earthquakes. Okay. So 3 earthquakes over here in Indonesia, hundreds in Japan. 3 mild earthquakes with magnitudes ranging from 4.6 to 5.2. Like I said, these aren't your 2.0, 3.0 earthquakes. These are higher level quakes, higher range quakes. It says they were recorded in the sea off Sumatra Island, Indonesia on Friday, according to the Thai Meteorological Department. The department's Earthquake Observation Division reported that the first quake occurred at 12:33 p.m. in the sea north of Sumatra, registering a magnitude of 5.2 at a depth of 10 kilometers. The epicenter was located approximately 394 kilometers southwest of Phuket province. And then they had a second and third earthquake occurred at 12:39 and 1:18 with magnitudes of 4.7 and 4.6 respectively. So these regions that is over here in the Pacific, Japan, Indonesia, around the Philippines, that Ring of Fire region, as I've spoken on before, it's becoming heavily volatile with quakes, unlike what has been seen before. So what is that speaking on? It has to be a telltale sign of something to come. Now I got one more here, and this is a smaller quake. This is coming out of Los Angeles, which California is also on that Pacific side of the U.S. around that Ring of Fire, all the way up into Alaska. Published July 4th, 2025. Magnitude 2.5 earthquake reported off San Pedro. And they're always getting quakes here, but diverse places. You have quakes in California, but then now we're seeing other quakes in other regions at the same time. A magnitude 2.5 offshore earthquake caused light shaking Friday in San Pedro. The earthquake at 10:21 a.m. was about 5 miles south of San Pedro. And that's it. I just wanted to get the location and, the fact that diverse or different places are feeling these quakes. So it definitely lines up with what the scriptures say here. Okay? And these things are what? The beginning of sorrows. I'll read it again. Mark 13:8. Mark 13:8. For nation shall rise against nation, and we've been seeing that. Okay? Israel and the U.S. versus Iran, Ukraine versus Russia. These countries have been going back and forth for years now, and now the U.S. is getting involved. And there's threats of, North Korea got involved, sending troops to help out Russia or Ukraine. So this is a part of prophecy. It says in kingdom against kingdom. And the reason why these things are a part of these prophecies here that I'm reading about is because these things are happening a lot more frequent and a lot more closer together. It says, and there shall be earthquakes in diverse places. Right? All these things are going to happen around the same time. Not hundreds of years and decades apart. Now we're at the point where these things are happening weeks apart, days apart, at the same time. And there shall be famines and troubles. Okay, famines, shortages. Okay, uh, shortages on food, shortages on certain supplies, and inflation. Okay, tariffs lead to embargoes. You got sanctions. I believe the U.S. just put sanctions on Iran. So you got to pay more money for certain things. It's beginning to be sorrow in the earth, troubles. Now over here in the U.S., we've seen the ICE agents. Them agents were coming against the so-called Hispanic or Latin American tribes, which are the Israelites. So-called Mexicans. Central Americans, South Americans. I believe even certain Native Americans were caught up in that. And now the Southern Kingdom, with the tribe of Levi, the Haitians, they're being targeted by ICE. And that's going to trickle down to those from the Caribbean islands and even African Americans up here in America. So things are the beginning, as it says here, to be trouble for Jacob. And then not just Jacob, but the other nations here in America and other places around the world as well. These are the beginnings of sorrows. So prophecy is definitely coming to pass. That's why we keep our eyes on the news reports. And we filter everything through the Holy Bible, through the scriptures. So with that, I hope this lesson was edifying. Shalom.